Now with time we often think, I don't know if I should have put that file into that folder. And so sometimes we want to move files into different folders, and there's a variety of ways we can do this. Not only do we want to move, sometimes we want to copy files into more than one location. So for example, I might decide this particular file here, grow1, is an image, and I want that to be in my images folder. So with that file selected, if I wanted to move that file to the images folder, I would simply drag it and drop it. And you can see the dashy line appear around the images folder and just let go. And by dragging that and dropping that, it's actually moved grow1. Grow1 has disappeared from here, and it tells me here that it's moved that file to images. So dragging is one thing, and you can select more than one file, and you could drag all three of them to the images folder. So dragging is a good way to do moving files around. But sometimes we want to copy. So for example, say I want to copy this particular file, put a duplicate of this file into the images folder. Then I would select the file and use my show actions, and I would copy to, not copy link, that's if you want to share it with people and create a link. But copy to then allows me to choose what folder do you want to copy this to. And I can choose not only what folder, but also what site I'd like to copy this file to. I'm just going to copy it to the images folder. So I click on the images folder and I choose copy here. So now I've got a copy inside of my images folder called Grow4. And there it is there. But also if I go back to documents, I've got a copy of Grow4 also here. So a copy is going to put a duplicate into another folder or into another site in another folder, whereas move is actually going to literally move it to another place. Now, if I decided, for example, let's say I wanted to create a new folder, and I'll call it updated images. So I've been slowly working through my images and slowly updating them. So if I go into the images folder, I might actually decide, let's go back to documents, that I want to move this folder into the images folder. So I drag the updated images folder into the images folder. And if I click on images, there's the folder sitting inside of it. So I'm then going to drag this picture, because it's been updated, and move it into that folder. So I've dragged it into that folder, and now that exists under updated images. But then if I thought, oh no, hang on, we haven't finished updating that, I really need to take that out of updated images and put it back into images because it's not finished, I literally can just drag it up to here and drop it on images or drop it on documents and drag it back to the root folder. And so if I go back to images, that particular Coffee Africa is now gone back into images. So feel confident that you can drag it into folders or drag it into folders that are mentioned up here. I could drag Coffee Africa into documents, and now it's moved out of images, and Coffee Africa is sitting back in my documents folder. And then I can drag that back into my images folder. So drag and drop is a really convenient way of moving files around until you're happy with where they're positioned. And copy file, which we don't use so much, but you could put a copy of a file mainly onto another site where it was relevant to another site. But you don't want to create duplicates of files everywhere if you could possibly avoid it. Now the other thing you can do, of course, is if you've got a file in your File Explorer, so if I go to my File Explorer here and I've got a particular file, say that I want to put into my SharePoint, I could go into any location. Actually, let's not go into that one. Let's go into this one and use those files. And let's just say that I want to put these winners into here. Just drag it from File Explorer and drop it onto your SharePoint site. And it literally is moving it into there. In fact, it hasn't moved it because if I bring this window back up, a copy of it, winners, has now been added to the SharePoint site. So there's a copy there and there's a copy there. If I drag people and drop it into just this, I don't want to drop it into images, I just want to drop it into documents, so I just drop it here where that dashy line appears, and I've just dropped people straight into my documents folder in SharePoint, and there it is there, but it still resides on here. So when you're going from Windows Explorer to SharePoint, or SharePoint to Windows Explorer, it tends to take a copy. But when you're going from one folder to another folder inside a SharePoint, it tends to move it. So make sure that it does exactly what you want it to do. Now, something else that we looked at is we looked at uploading files into SharePoint. Besides dragging it, if you don't want to drag the file from your Windows Explorer to your actual SharePoint site, then you can just use the upload button. If you click the upload button, you can upload a file from anywhere on your filing system, or you can upload an entire folder into your SharePoint site. So use the upload file or upload folder option, or just simply drag it from your File Explorer straight into your SharePoint site, and you've uploaded those files using the drag and drop method.